Hello gamers, my name is Manatee Squad, and welcome to my review of Assassin's Creed Chronicles India. Now I'm just going to come clean from the start and say that I absolutely hate the Assassin's Creed games. Over time it has become a release every year series with little to no innovation with each new iteration. I go back to them from time to time to see what's new, but I'm always disappointed. I'm hoping this game will break the trend and give me some small glimmer of hope for the series. Let's see if the game stacks up, shall we? In Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, we are put in the shoes of Arbaz, a master assassin living in colonial-era India. The East India Trading Company is owned by the Templars, and its influence is widespread in the region. Arbaz also happens to be in love with the princess, and regularly sneaks into the palace to pay her conjugal visits. It is during one of these visits that the Templars attack Arbaz's mentor and steal the Koh-i-Noor, a large gem that the assassins recently stole from the Templars. As Arbaz, it is up to you to use your deadly kit and assassin's wit to rescue your mentor and steal back the Koh-i-Noor. The story starts out strong, having you sneak into the palace to visit the princess, and then having you rush to the aid of your mentor, not knowing if he'll be alive or dead by the time you catch up to the East India Trading Company. However, after that, the story quickly grows stale as you are repeatedly playing catch-up with one British Templar after the other, trying to retrieve the Koh-i-Noor. This might get you wondering, why do the assassins want the gem so badly? This isn't really explained to the player from the start, so I'm left assuming that the assassins were just over budget and really in the need of money. Arbaz's relationship with the princess is also something that isn't explored as much as it should be. I think an assassin being in love with the local royalty could have some very interesting implications and take the story in some really cool directions, but there's almost no attention paid to the relationship throughout the story, and I feel like the developers missed a big opportunity here. The cutscenes between levels are enjoyable and do a good job of giving Arbaz character. The cast of characters is relatively small, but I think that's best for this game as it keeps things simple and focused on what matters, the gameplay. Overall, the story here mostly serves the purpose of moving you from mission to mission in an easy-to-follow manner, and it does well enough in that regard. The soundtrack for the majority of the game is this great, authentic-sounding Indian music that really blends with the setting and helps a lot with immersion. However, part of the soundtrack for stealth sequences, which makes up the vast majority of the playtime, is this slow rock ballad kind of music which I found really out of place for the setting. As far as graphics go, it's a 2.5D platformer, so all of the artwork is 3D and the work is high quality. All of the textures look nice and fit well for the environments they're in. The main thing to see here, though, is the color. Almost every level in the game features a vibrant and colorful palette that looks simply beautiful and never gets old. Colorful tapestries hang from balconies, painted ornamentations adorn the entirety of the palace, and the very uniforms of the enemy are full of color. Really, the only bland thing on the screen is Arbaz dressed in his stark white assassin's robes, but this serves well to keep your character readily separable from the environments you're slinking and climbing through. All of the animations are relatively well done, and I'm glad they didn't get too flashy with the executions like in the other Assassin's Creeds. My personal favorite is the blood animation. The blood is amazing in this game. Upon stabbing someone, instead of traditional blood spurting out, you're treated with red Indian-inspired symbols that resemble brushstrokes, exploding from your enemies' backs. I became a cold-hearted killer because of this, attempting to hack and slash my way through entire levels just to see the animation. I had mixed results. Assassin's Creed Chronicles India is all about two things: trial and error. If you're the type of person who likes completing things on the first try, you're going to have a tough time with this one. Your goal is to sneak and stab your way through each level, sometimes having to tackle unique objectives along the way. To do this, you're given some unique tools. Arbaz has noise bombs to throw and distract guards, however they don't explode, so I don't really know why they're called bombs. He also has chakrams which he can use to cut rope or damage enemies, and smoke bombs to render guards incapacitated for a short time. He also has a mundane sword, and it wouldn't be Assassin's Creed without the hidden blades. Using these unique tools makes certain sequences much easier, and in some instances they're absolutely required. However, due to ample ammo drops and the ability to loot fallen enemies, you almost always have the right tool for the job. The levels are well designed and use a simple color coding system. Red areas are for traversing, and green areas are for hiding yourself and the bodies of your enemies. It's a very simple and effective system, and I was rarely left wondering where to go next. There is a large variety of enemies, from guards who can't be assassinated to enemies who hide in the shadows and wait for the opportune moment to rearrange your jugular. New enemies are constantly introduced as the game progresses to keep you on your toes. Levels are also highly varied, taking you from a downtown cityscape through underground temples, even to an Afghan fortress. Each level feels different, both because of the artwork of the environment and also the objectives of each mission. Sometimes you are collecting clothing to create a disguise, and others you are tasked with killing all of the nearby guards within a time limit. My personal favorite mission was one where Arbaz lost his equipment, and I had to make my way through the entire level using nothing but stealth and the ability to whistle to distract guards. It offered a nice change of pace to the rest of the game. I only have two main issues with the core gameplay. Number one, the jumping. You jump in this game. A lot. So when there are problems with jumping, it kind of permeates the entire experience. Throughout the game, I've had to replay several segments simply because a jump failed when it should have reached. Sometimes a jump that usually makes it across a certain gap just simply doesn't, with no difference of input whatsoever. I experienced this myself and also saw others experiencing it in their own videos. The most painful incident was the first puzzle you run into involving weights. I had to climb on certain weights to manipulate them to get a certain ledge, and after trying about 50 times to get onto this ledge, in what was almost certainly the right way to solve the puzzle, I watched someone else do it. They were doing the exact same thing as me, except they made the jump. After trying about 20 more times, doing the same inputs every time, I finally hit a successful attempt and was able to continue with the game. However, this happened to me on several occasions, and it is extremely disruptive and demoralizing when you encounter it. Number 2. The repetition. Sometimes while playing this game, I got the feeling that they designed the levels specifically to be unbeatable on the first try. Now, I have no problem with that in and of itself, but after playing through the same segment 30 times, you begin to get a little bored of doing the same thing over and over. Combined with the checkpoints that range from well-spaced to downright demented, and timed segments that leave no room for error, it can make for a frustrating experience sometimes. Overall, I enjoyed the game, and despite the few hindrances, played through it in about 8 hours. There's also a New Game Plus mode that you can take part in, which allows you to replay the game again, but with the added power of all the unlocks you get from your first playthrough. I don't personally see myself going for another playthrough, but the replay value is there for those who want it. So we get to the real question. Is the game worth the price? The answer is yes. I would say that the game is priced almost perfectly at $10. The artwork is stunning, the levels and missions stay fresh throughout, and there is just the right amount of story to keep the game flowing. With the added replay value of the New Game Plus mode, the value easily outweighs the price for those who love Assassin's Creed, or simply like 2D stealth-based platformers. So if you're a fan of the franchise that wants every bit of story there is, or just a fan of the genre, if you drop the $10, you won't be disappointed.
Got it.
Alright folks, that's it for my review of Assassin's Creed Chronicles India. If you enjoyed the review, please like, rate, and subscribe for future videos. Also, if you have questions about the game or advice for my channel, just let me know in the comments below. My name is Manatee Squad, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.